Gachagua is facing it head-on with the interior boss Kindiki Kithure, or Kithure Kindiki, over the kingpin, who is the kingpin of that region. We'll be understanding what it means to have a kingpin and what are the benefits. And perhaps that's the reason there is a push and pull between the two. This is after at least 48 MPs had endorsed Kindiki, that is the interior boss, to be the region's kingpin, and making him the link between President Ruto and the mountain, more so in terms of development. We'll be highlighting that, even as Gachagua has likened his opponents in the region to hyenas, saying they are there for their selfish interests. He believes that they are at least being given some tokens for them to support Kindiki. This even as the majority leader Kimani Ichung'wah has called for sacking of the deputy president Rigathi Gachagua. We'll understand whether it's even possible to sack a deputy president. President Ruto, the man himself, just speaking on this particular matter, he has urged leaders to desist from vouching for tribal politics and instead focus on development. He, in fact, wants his deputy to stop the early 2027 campaigns. That is in the ruling Kenya Kwanza. Now, remember Azimio? Raila Odinga left. That is in his capacity as the principal of Azimio. And this morning we ask, is Kalonzo Musyoka's opposition wing being felt? Has Kalonzo fit in the shoes of Raila Odinga? He self-proclaimed to be the new Azimio principal, replacing Raila Odinga, who now focuses on the AU bid. Also, is Kenya doing enough to ensure Odinga wins in the AUC? It is a question that I'll be posing to my panelists this morning. This even as it seems there is an emerging political outfit in the opposition, led by Martha Karua, Mohisa Kitui, Ekuru Okot, who are now coming together just to keep the government of the day in tows. Remember, Martha Karua left Azimio, or had served a notice, of course, expressing her intention to exit Azimio. And Kalonzo, on the other side, is still pushing. Now, ODM, which now, it's not clear whether it's still in Azimio, but they're in Azimio, they have not officially expressed interest to leave. But its interim party leader, that is the Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o, has urged its members to back Ruto. ODM in itself, there are now two factions, one that supports the broad-based government and the other that does not support the broad-based government. Will be focusing which is which and which way for ODM, that is now led by, of course, Anyang' Nyong'o in an interim capacity as the ODM party leader, and on the other hand, the chair, that is the Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga. Even as we still focus on matters politics, politics is back in church, and politicians are at the pulpit yet again. We'll be highlighting whether the stance by the same churches that barred politicians from using their platforms to advance their political interests have since been softened. And also we ask, was the Gen Z revolution a passing cloud? This morning, I'll be joined by very key guests in studio. That is Jeremiah Kioni, SG, Jubilee Party, that's the Secretary General of Jubilee Party. Dr. Kanwithia John Mutunga is the MP, Tigania West, and also the chair of the Agriculture Committee in the National Assembly, and Kimani Mwangi, a political analyst. But I also invite you in this conversation via social media platforms at K24 TV, Joel Chacha, as well on the SMS and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of your screens. I'll be sampling some of the feedback before wrapping up New Dawn this morning. But before getting to our newspaper review, I already have them here. That is the People Daily, the Daily Nation, and the Standard, among others. We first focus on these stories where the Office of the Control of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, now says that it has no idea what happens with the housing levy, road maintenance levy, together with other levies collected by the government, despite being the office that controls the country's budget. Speaking while appearing before the Constitution Implementation Committee of the National Assembly, Nyakango also revealed that she has no mandate to report on economic projects and loans, saying this has been a loophole for corruption to thrive. Our very own Brian Amwai with the details.
Housing through the housing levy is used is not a subject I'm privy to. These are the words of the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango. Nyakango says her office has not been able to report on the road maintenance levy and the housing levy, indicating that the money does not pass through her hands despite being in charge of the budget.
Housing levy is one of those that doesn't go through my hands. Indeed, if you see levy somewhere, just know that it doesn't go through the COB. No. The moment you see levy, you know that one is on the side. Appearing
before the Constitution Implementation Committee of the National Assembly, Nyakango revealed that her office has been paralyzed, calling on the Gathoni Wamushomba-led committee to help ensure that it runs smoothly. The COB said despite calls from Kenyans to audit loans and find out how they are used, she does not have the mandate to report economic projects, saying this has opened a window for corruption.
That you have noted that you are not allowed to report on some economic... did I say something like that? Yes. Page 7. Is it page 7? Yeah, page 7. You are not allowed, Section 9(4) of the Act should be amended to allow the COB to report on all facets of budget implementation as envisaged in the Constitution. Under the existing provision, the COB is barred from reporting on economic development and outlook, including revenue, grants, loan forecast, and receipts. So it means that when we are building SGR, which is an economic development project, you are not allowed to report that. Then why is this office there if they cannot tell us how we spend money on economic development?
Many of the reallocations are questionable because you have to ask, why would the money be removed from where it was initially, unless we can get evidence from where it was supposed to go initially, of somebody surrendering it and saying perhaps we don't have the capacity to undertake this project. So this is incomplete unless we know from the original destination that they do not need the money. That is the only way this can be relevant.
Following her dramatic arrest 9 months ago, which was termed as political witch hunt, the COB revealed that it has left her with fear, but maintains it will not prevent her from doing her job.
Madam Chair, sometimes I feel unsafe, but to the extent that the same law has protected me, I feel safe.
Nyakango also cited budgetary constraints, saying the 700 million allocated to her office is not enough in covering every part of the country, drawing comparisons with the Auditor General's office, which has a budget allocation of 9 billion shillings.
The budget of the COB is only 700 million. And we serve the whole country, every corner of the country, with 700 million. This is not as much as the overdraft interest that we pay to the CBK per month.
Brian Amwai, K24.
On to other news, Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli has denied the Judicial Service Commission's assertion that withdrawal of Judge Lawrence Mugambi's security was a retaliatory move. Masengeli says that withdrawn security were taken back for training, maintaining that they were replacements contrary to claims by Chief Justice Martha Koome. And as Martin Opio now reports, the Acting Inspector General of Police has appealed the ruling and is now seeking to have the 6-month sentence set aside until the conclusion of the appeal.
Hours after Chief Justice Martha Koome castigated the Acting Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli, and the National Police Service for withdrawing the security of Judge Lawrence Mugambi. Acting Inspector General of Police is denying advancing retaliatory gimmicks as alleged by the Judicial Service Commission.
Contrary to the allegation by the Judicial Service Commission, yesterday that the security details assigned to the Honorable Justice Mugambi has been thrown to intimidate the judge, we wish to clarify that allegation were ill-intended. Speaking during a session with traffic officers, the acting IG claimed that the withdrawn officers were taken back for training on VIP protection.
Good morning, sir.
He argues that a new team was dispatched in place of the withdrawn ones.
In case of Honorable Justice Mugambi, the two security officers in question are general duty officers, and they were therefore recalled to attend VIP protection, security training, and also were replaced by two VIP protection officers from the Judicial Police Unit.
But the timings are raising eyebrows as the withdrawal came just hours after Judge Mugambi sentenced the acting IG to 6 months imprisonment.
Contemner, Mr. Gilbert Masengeli is sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. Mr. Masengeli is ordered to submit himself to the Commissioner General of Kenya Prisons to ensure that he is to be committed to a prison facility to commence serving sentence of the imprisonment imposed.
Still last week, Judge Lawrence Mugambi demanded that Police Commandant VIP Protection Unit Lazarus Opicho appear before the court to explain why he demanded through his security detail to know his whereabouts. They said police officers would be withdrawn over the weekend. Instead, the IG is laying claims of attempts to interfere with the independence of the police, which he claims can make changes at any given time.
The independent command and control of police is vested in the Inspector General. Other than the CS Interior that may give policy direction to the IG, no person may give direction to the IG with respect to the employment, assignment, promotion, suspension or dismissal of any member of the National Police Service in accordance with Article 245(4), Section C of the Constitution. Other than the President, the Deputy President, and the retired presidents, no other Kenyans are entitled by the law to be provided with the personal security detail. Owing to the role of the judiciary, the National Police Service recently established the Judicial Police Unit purposely for protection of the judiciary and its officials.
Masengeli's action and that of the National Police has continued to withdraw wide condemnation, with Association of Judges who are speaking in Kisumu, led by their President Patrick Otieno, have termed the actions as clear threat and aimed at intimidating the judiciary and their independence.
We take this as an acceptable direct onslaught on the judge's office, an undisguised threat and intimidation to the judge as a consequence of his discharge of judicial duty. We see it as an onslaught on both the Constitution and the rule of law. It is an assault on the office of all judges in Kenya and the institution they serve. We see Inspector Riri as the face and instrument of this violation.
They have threatened to head to the courts while demanding an apology from the IG.
And now issue a notice that we shall take all legal measures, including moving the court to declare him unfit to hold a public office. We remind Inspector Riri that he, the officers he has withdrawn, and all his superiors, including the Inspector General, like all public and state officers, work for Kenyans and merely execute a delegated mandate from the people.
Masengeli has already filed an appeal on the ruling and is seeking to have the Court of Appeal suspend his conviction until the appeal is heard and determined. Martin Opio, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Still in the same breath, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has called on President William Ruto to suspend Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli from office for disrespecting the court by violating its orders, as well as intimidation of the judge presiding over his case. This call has been supported by other leaders, and human rights organization Haki Africa has threatened to have Masengeli arrested as a civilian if he does not surrender as ordered by the court within the 7-day deadline, which expires tomorrow on Thursday. David Kagina has more.
Following the withdrawal of Justice Lawrence Mugambe's security detail, days after he sentenced Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli to 6 months imprisonment for contempt of court, there has been considerable dissatisfaction from various quarters. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has joined in the fray, calling on President William Ruto to dismiss Masengeli from his position and ensure that he is held accountable.
We are very clear, we are very unhappy. If Ruto should actually just dismiss his fellow, not even, I know there will be somebody waiting to take over Kanja or somebody, all right? But even before Kanja takes over, a man like this should go home. Not only go home, but be held responsible for trying to drive this country backwards in a very primitive way.
Other leaders, including NAK Kenya's Martha Karua and Third Way Alliance Chief Ekuru Okot, have expressed concerns that other police officers might follow the president of defying court orders, thus undermining the authority of independent government agencies as stipulated by the Constitution.
We are looking into a jungle country. Anarchy. We are looking into anarchy, because if the policemen do not respect the orders of the court, then what do you expect Kenyans to do? This is anarchy in the making.
It's actually a very primitive attack, if I may call it so. Unexplainable. That man should not qualify to hold any public office.
Civil society organizations led by Haki Africa have threatened to take action, including removing Acting Inspector General Masengeli from office as civilians if he does not comply with the court orders that requires him to report to court within 7 days, which lapse on Thursday.
Haki Africa calls on the acting IG to comply with the court order and present himself before the court. Should he fail to do so, we urge the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Interior to ensure his arrest and detention. If these steps are not taken, we the citizens will invoke Section 35 of the Criminal Procedure Code and Article 1 to carry out citizens' arrest and ensure his compliance with the law. No one is above the law.
Haki Africa is also demanding that the security officers attached to the judge be reinstated, stating that all orders given by Masengeli are currently unlawful.
Kwa hivyo hana uwezo wa kisheria wa kutoa amri yoyote. Ndio nasema hata corporal, hata constable anaweza kumshika na akampeleka mahakamani. Kwa hivyo amri yoyote ambayo ameitoa sahihi baada ya ile conviction, it is illegal, null and void kisheria.
If Masengeli does not report to court by Thursday, he will be required to serve a 6-month sentence for defying a court summon 7 times, where he was required to account for the whereabouts of Bob Njagi, Jamil Longton and his brother Askam Longton, who went missing from Kitengela on August 19, 2024.
Article 132, Subarticle 1C of our Constitution, once every year, the President shall report in an address to the nation on all the measures taken and the progress achieved in realization of the national values referred to in Article 10.
David Kagina, K24, Nairobi.
Away from that, the surge in road traffic accidents in recent months has seen 16,261 Kenyans involved in road accidents this year, with corruption by traffic officers at the core of the road carnages. Earlier on Tuesday, Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli met top traffic bosses for a consultative meeting aimed at addressing the rising cases of accidents in the country. Robbie Omondi filed this report.
The National Transport and Safety Authority has recorded 16,261 victims of road accidents from January to 5th September this year, an increase of 928 from last year. This has seen Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli raise concern over the increase in road accidents across the country.
We want to have people to live and live well. Lives should not be cut short just because of some other incidents that could have been avoided. Not forgetting the county government also to ensure that we have the parking areas, we have the bus stop areas and stages so that the pedestrian as well may have their way.
While meeting top traffic bosses for a consultative meeting aimed at addressing underlying problems contributing to the rise in accidents, Masengeli expressed concerns over the conduct of some of traffic unit officers, including corruption and bribery.
We've taken significant measures by ensuring we have the administrative actions taken. Officers are appearing within our system of administrative, that is order room proceedings and so forth. Also, ensuring we relieve them traffic duties to other areas, as well as they wait their last or the outcome of the administrative issue or action that is being taken.
Data from NTSA shows that 3,203 Kenyans have lost their lives due to road accidents, 8,172 seriously injured, while 4,886 were left with minor injuries since the year began.
I would like also to call upon other stakeholders like NTSA, like the Matatu circles, the general public, and the fourth estate, the media, to assist us also to capping the road carnage that has been happening in this across the country.
Robbie Omondi, K24.
Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka was on Tuesday involved in a heated altercation with EACC Deputy Chief Executive Officer Abdi Ahmed over claims of bribery within the commission. As Ian Kitani now files, the incident occurred during a session with the Senate Labour and Welfare Committee, with the senator calling on the commission to up its game in the war against corruption.
For the last 2 years, how many cases has EACC won on corruption?
What was a Senate committee session looking into the first choice agency fraud case took a turn for the worst after EACC Deputy Chief Executive Officer Abdi Ahmed took issue with what he termed as frequent allegations made by Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka on TV against the commission without substantiating them.
On many occasions on live TV and live radio, indicating that if you have an issue with EACC, just take a briefcase. I would really want to talk to him as a Kenyan, as an honorable member. When you make such kind of allegations without actually substantiating.
The deputy CEO's sentiments were not taken lightly by the vocal senator, who slammed him and the commission over reluctance in handling crucial cases.
If you want me to carry a briefcase with money with you on somebody who's accused, I will take you and you see them get the money. So don't pretend this office and think that we don't know what you're doing. Chair. And I'm not asking you to accuse anybody unfairly. The reason why our country is the way it is, where these people have lost $1 billion shillings and you laugh at it. It is no longer a joke out here. Out here, people are saying, first of all, how I wish I had a way, I would disband EACC.
In a turn of events, the seemingly angered senator questioned the CEO over how they operate, in the process implicating two firms that he says are corrupt to the core.
Go and check a company called Trident Insurance. It is insuring all the county government workers, and they don't release payments for these people to be treated. Have I not written a letter to your office? I have. Number two, sir, are you with me? How many times have people written letters to your office about how impressed is being abused in our county governments to 300 billion shillings? I mean, 300 million shillings per county. We have raised those letters to you. Go and look at my letters.
Unable to put up with the heat, the deputy CEO was forced to apologize.
I withdraw and apologize.
Elsewhere, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has apprehended two senior port health officers at JKIA, who was said to have been issuing yellow fever vaccine certificates to foreigners without administering the vaccines and in the process soliciting and receiving bribes in return. The two Esther Mwihaki Mwangi and Dedan Kamau Ndungu are currently held at the EACC headquarters. Ian Keitani, K24 TV, Nairobi.
It's time to take a short commercial break. When we come back, I'll be engaging my panelists in studio. That is Mwangi, who is a political analyst, and as well Dr. Kanyithia Mutunga, the chair of the Agriculture Committee, and as well Tigania West Member of Parliament. But keep the conversation going via social media platform at K24 TV, at Joel Chacha, and as well on SMS and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of the screens. I'll be sampling some of them before wrapping up New Dawn this morning. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.